The morning sun was rising over the mountains when Taiho started his patrol. He was a forest ranger, and he had worked in these woods for 7 years. He knew every tree, every rock, and every animal path. The forest was his home, and he loved it more than anything else in the world. Taiho walked slowly through the trees. The birds were singing, and the air smelled fresh and clean. It was going to be a beautiful day. He checked his radio and made sure it was working. His partner, Yuna, was on duty at the station today. She would call him if there was any problem. He climbed up a small hill and stopped to drink some water. From here, he could see the valley below. Everything looked peaceful and quiet. But then something caught his eye. There was smoke rising from the eastern part of the forest. It was not normal smoke from a campfire. It was thick and black, and it was coming from somewhere deep in the woods. Taiho frowned. Nobody was supposed to be in that area. It was protected land, and visitors needed special permission to enter. He picked up his radio and called the station. "Yuna, this is Taiho. I see smoke in Sector 7. I am going to check it out." "Be careful," Yuna replied. "Do you want me to send backup?" "Not yet. Let me see what it is first. It might just be a small fire." Taiho started walking toward the smoke. It took him almost an hour to reach the area. As he got closer, he noticed that the trees looked strange. Some of them were burned, but not by normal fire. The burns were clean and smooth, like someone had cut through them with a hot knife. Then he saw a dot in the middle of a small clearing. There was something that did not belong in the forest. It was a machine of some kind. It was round and silver, about the size of a small house. One side of it was broken open, and smoke was coming from inside. Taiho had never seen anything like it before. He stopped and stared. His heart was beating fast. He was not a stupid man. He watched the news. He knew that people sometimes talked about things from space, but he had never believed those stories. They were just fairy tales for children and crazy people. But this was real. This was right in front of him. Taiho took a deep breath and walked closer. He could see now that the machine was badly damaged. Whatever had happened, it had crashed hard. There were pieces of metal scattered all around the clearing. Some of them were still hot. He walked around the machine slowly. He was looking for any sign of life. If someone was inside, they might need help. He was a ranger, and helping people was his job. It did not matter if those people came from the sky. The broken part of the machine was like a door. Taiho looked inside carefully. The interior was dark and filled with smoke. He could see strange lights blinking on and off. There were seats inside, but they were empty. Whoever had been in this machine was gone now. Taiho stepped back and looked around the clearing. There were footprints on the ground. They were small and white, like the footprints of a woman, but they did not look quite human. The shape was a little different, a little longer. He followed the footprints with his eyes. They led away from the machine and into the forest. Whoever made them had gone toward the river, but there was something else. Taiho noticed another set of footprints. These were bigger and heavier. They were human footprints, and there were many of them. At least 4 or 5 people had been here. Taiho felt a cold feeling in his stomach. He knew that there were bad people in these mountains. Smugglers and thieves sometimes used the forest to hide from the police. If they had found this machine first, they would have taken everything valuable. He looked more carefully at the ground. Yes, he could see the marks now. Heavy boots walking back and forth. They had searched the area. They had taken things from the machine. And then they had left, but the small footprints had come after. The person from the machine had come out later after the thieves were gone. That person had found their ship empty and looted. And then they had run into the forest. Taiho made a decision. He would follow the small footprints. If someone was lost in his forest, he he would find them and help them. That was his duty. He started walking toward the river. The footprints were easy to follow at first. The person had been running, and they had not tried to hide their trail. But after a while, the footprints became harder to see. The ground was rocky here, and the trees were thick. Tejo stopped and listened. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Even the birds had stopped singing. Something was wrong. He heard a sound to his left. It was soft, like someone breathing. Tejo turned his head slowly. He did not want to scare whoever was there. "Hello?" He called out in Korean. Then he tried English. "Hello? Is someone there? I am a ranger. I can help you." There was no answer. But Tejo could feel that someone was watching him. He could feel eyes on his back. He took another step forward. And then he heard a voice. It was a woman's voice, high and clear. But the words she spoke made no sense at first. They were in a language he did not know. Then the voice spoke again, this time in broken English. "Human, stop. Turn around." Tejo stopped walking. His heart was beating very fast now. "I am a ranger," he said again. "I want to help you. Are you hurt?" "Turn around," the voice said again. "Do not look, please." Tejo understood now. The voice sounded embarrassed. The voice sounded scared. And suddenly, he remembered the thieves. They had taken things from the machine. All kinds of things, including, perhaps, clothes. Tejo felt his face turn red. He quickly turned around and faced the other direction. "I am not looking," he said. "I promise. My name is Tejo. I work in this forest. I saw your ship crash. I came to help." There was silence for a moment. Then the voice spoke again. "You are human? From this planet?" "Yes, I'm human. I am Korean. This is my country." Another silence. Tejo could hear the woman moving behind him. She was coming closer, but staying hidden behind the trees. "The others," she said. "The other humans. They took everything. My supplies, my clothes, my communication device. I have nothing." Tejo felt angry. Those thieves had no honor. They had robbed someone who was helpless and alone. "I am sorry," he said. "Not all humans are like that. Some of us are good. I want to help you. Why?" The voice asked. "You do not know me. I am not your kind. Why would you help me?" Tejo thought about the question. It was a good question. Why did he want to help this stranger from the stars? "Because you need help," he said simply. "That is enough reason for me." The forest was quiet again. Tejo waited. He did not turn around. He kept his promise, and behind him, hidden in the shadows of the trees, Lyra stared at the human with wonder in her eyes. She had studied humans before coming to this planet. She had read the reports. Humans were violent, primitive, and dangerous. That was what her people believed, but this human was different. This human had turned his back without hesitation. This human had offered help without asking for anything. For the first time since her ship crashed, Lyra felt something she had not expected to feel. She felt hope. Tejo stood very still. His back was turned, and he kept his eyes on the trees in front of him. He could hear the alien woman moving behind him. Her footsteps were soft and careful. She was afraid of him, he realized. She was afraid of what he might do. "I will not hurt you," he said gently. "I give you my word." "Your word?" The woman asked. "What does that mean?" "It means I make a promise. In my culture, when a man gives his word, he must keep it. If he breaks his word, he loses his honor." There was a pause. Then the woman spoke again. "My people have something similar. We call it the bond of truth. Once spoken, it cannot be broken. Then I give you my bond of truth. Taeho said. I will not look until you say it is okay, and I will help you if I can. He heard her take a deep breath. It sounded almost human. My name is Lyra, she said. I come from a planet far away from here. My ship was damaged during a storm in space. I had to land on your world. But when I woke up, there were people outside. They broke into my ship. They took everything they could carry. Then they left. The smugglers, Taeho said. They are criminals. They hide in these mountains to escape the law. I'm sorry they found you first. They took my clothes, Lyra said. Her voice was quiet and ashamed. All of them. I have nothing to cover myself. I tried to make something from leaves and plants, but they fall apart. I have been hiding in the trees for hours. Taeho felt his heart fill with sympathy. He could not imagine how scared she must be. Alone on a strange planet, surrounded by unknown creatures with nothing to protect her. It must be terrible. He reached for his jacket. It was a thick green jacket, the standard uniform for forest rangers. He took it off and held it behind him, keeping his face forward. Here, he said. Take this. It is not much, but it will cover you. He felt the jacket being pulled from his hands. There was a moment of silence, and then he heard the sound of fabric moving. She was putting it on. It is warm, Lyra said softly. Thank you. You are welcome. Is it enough? I also have pants, but... He stopped, feeling embarrassed. The jacket is long, Lyra said. It covers me enough for now. You can turn around. Taeho turned slowly, and then he saw her for the first time. Lyra was standing a few meters away. She was tall and thin, with long legs and arms. Her skin was a pale blue color, like the sky on a winter morning. Her hair was silver and fell down to her shoulders. But her face was the most surprising. It was almost human. She had 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. But her eyes were larger than human eyes, and they were a deep purple color. They were beautiful eyes, Taeho thought. Sad and beautiful. She was wearing his jacket. It was big on her, reaching down to her knees. She had wrapped it tightly around herself and crossed her arms over her chest. She looked cold and scared and lost. You are not what I expected, Taeho said without thinking. Lyra tilted her head. What did you expect? I do not know. Something different. You look almost like us. Many species in the galaxy have similar forms, Lyra said. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. It is a common design, but we are not the same. My people are older than yours. We have traveled the stars for thousands of years. That is amazing, Taeho said. We humans have only been to our moon. The stars are still a dream for us. Lyra's eyes grew soft. You dream of the stars? Every child on Earth dreams of the stars. We look up at the sky at night and wonder what is out there. We wonder if we are alone. You are not alone, Lyra said. The galaxy is full of life. Hundreds of species. Thousands of worlds. But humans are... She stopped. Humans are what? Lyra looked uncomfortable. My people have watched your world for a long time. We have studied you. Most species in the galaxy think that humans are dangerous. You fight wars. You destroy your own planet. You are violent and unpredictable. Taeho nodded slowly. He could not argue with that. Humans had done many terrible things throughout history. We are not perfect, he admitted. We have made many mistakes. But we are trying to be better. Some of us, anyway. Lyra looked at him with her purple eyes. You gave me your jacket, she said. You turned your back to protect my dignity. You offered help without asking for anything. That is not what I expected from a human. Maybe your information is old, Taeho said with a small smile. Or maybe you just met the wrong humans first. For the first time, Lyra smiled. It was a small smile, but it changed her whole face. She looked younger and less afraid. "Perhaps," she said, "perhaps I was lucky to meet you." Tejo felt his face grow warm. He looked away and reached for his radio. "I should call for help," he said. "My partner at the station can bring you more clothes and food. You must be hungry." "I have not eaten since I crashed," Lyra admitted. "But I do not know if I can eat your food. Our bodies are different." "We will figure it out," Tejo said. "First, let me call Yuna." He pressed the button on his radio. "Yuna, this is Tejo. I found something in Sector 7. I need backup. Bring extra clothes, women's size, and some food and water." The radio crackled. "Tejo, what did you find? Is it a hiker?" Tejo looked at Lyra. She was watching him with curious eyes. "Not exactly," he said. "It is hard to explain. Just come quickly, please. And Yuna, do not tell anyone else. This is important." There was a pause. Then Yuna's voice came back, serious now. "Understood. I am on my way. Stay safe." Tejo put the radio back on his belt. He looked at Lyra again. "My friend will be here in about an hour," he said. "We should find a safe place to wait." "Can you walk?" "Yes," Lyra said, "but not fast. My legs are sore from running." "That is okay. We will go slowly. I know a place nearby where we can rest. There is a small cave by the river. It is hidden and safe." They started walking together through the forest. Tejo walked in front, choosing the easiest path. Lyra followed behind, her bare feet making no sound on the ground. "Your feet," Tejo said, looking back. "Are they not hurt?" "The ground is rough." Lyra looked down at her feet. "My skin is tougher than human skin. Small rocks and sticks do not hurt me. But your concern is kind." They walked in silence for a while. The forest was peaceful around them. Birds began to sing again, and sunlight came through the leaves in golden spots. "This place is beautiful," Lyra said quietly. "I have visited many worlds, but I have never seen trees like these." "These are pine trees," Tejo said. "They are very common in Korea. In autumn, the leaves of other trees turn red and gold. It is very pretty." "I would like to see that," Lyra said. Then her face grew sad. "But I do not know if I will still be here. My ship is destroyed. My communication device is gone. My people do not know where I am. Will they look for you?" "Yes. When I do not report back, they will send a search team. But space is very big. It could take them weeks to find this planet. Maybe months." Tejo thought about this. Weeks or months of hiding an alien woman in the Korean mountains. It seemed impossible. But he would try. "Until then, I will help you," he said. "You can trust me." Lyra stopped walking. Tejo stopped too and turned to look at her. "Why?" she asked. Her purple eyes were searching his face. "Why are you so kind to me? I am a stranger. I am not even your species. You have no reason to help me." Tejo thought about her question. It was the second time she had asked. And this time, he wanted to give a better answer. "When I was young," he said, "my grandmother told me something. She said that the true measure of a person is how they treat those who can give them nothing in return. You cannot give me anything, Lyra. You are lost and alone and afraid. But that is exactly why I must help you. Because it is right. Because it is what a good person does." Lyra stared at him for a long moment. Then she did something unexpected. She bowed. It was a formal bow, deep and respectful. The kind of bow you give to someone you admire. "In my culture," she said, "we bow to those who show true honor. You have shown me true honor, Tejo of Earth. I will not forget this." Tejo felt embarrassed. He was just doing what anyone should do. but he bowed back just as formally. "Come," he said. "The cave is just ahead. Let us wait for my friend there, and then we will figure out what to do next." They walked together into the shadows of the trees, and somewhere above them, hidden by clouds and atmosphere, the stars waited silently. The same stars that Lyra had traveled across. The same stars that humans dreamed of reaching. Perhaps, Tejo thought, this strange meeting was the beginning of something bigger. Perhaps this was how two worlds began to understand each other. Not through ships and technology, but through simple acts of kindness. He did not know what the future would bring. But for now, he was content to walk through his beloved forest with this strange and beautiful visitor from the stars. And he was determined to keep her safe, no matter what happened next. The cave was small but dry. It was hidden behind a waterfall, and the sound of falling water made it feel peaceful and safe. Tejo had discovered this place many years ago during one of his patrols. He had never told anyone about it. It was his secret spot, a place where he came to think and rest. Now he was sharing it with someone from another world. Lyra sat on a flat rock near the back of the cave. She had pulled her knees up to her chest and wrapped Tejo's jacket tighter around herself. In the dim light, her blue skin seemed to glow slightly. Her purple eyes reflected the water like two small moons. "Are you cold?" Tejo asked. He was sitting near the entrance of the cave, watching the forest outside. "A little," Lyra admitted. "My home planet is warmer than this. The air here is thinner too. It makes breathing harder. I am sorry. I do not have anything else to give you." "You have given me enough," Lyra said. "More than enough. I am grateful." They sat in silence for a while. The waterfall sang its endless song, and somewhere in the forest, a bird called out. "Can I ask you something?" Tejo said. "Yes." "Why did you come to Earth? Were you just passing by, or did you come here on purpose?" Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke, her voice soft and thoughtful. "I am a scientist," she said. "On my world, I study planets. I look at how life develops and changes. Earth has been on our watch list for a long time. Your planet is special. Special how? Your world is very young, but it has so much life. So many different species. Most planets have only a few types of living things. Earth has millions, and humans are the most interesting of all." "Interesting?" Tejo laughed. "I do not think most people would call us interesting." "You are," Lyra insisted. "In only a few thousand years, you went from living in caves to building machines that can fly. You created art and music and stories. You looked up at the stars and dreamed of touching them. Most species take much longer to develop like this. Some never do at all. But you also said we are dangerous." Lyra nodded slowly. "That is true. You have great power, but you often use it to hurt each other. Your wars, your weapons, your pollution. Many in the galaxy think humans will destroy themselves before they ever reach the stars. Do you think that?" Lyra looked at him with her strange purple eyes. "I did," she said honestly. "Before today, I believed the reports. I thought humans were primitive and violent, but now—" She paused. "Now I am not sure. You have made me question everything I believed." Tejo did not know what to say. It was strange to think that his simple act of kindness had changed how an alien saw his whole species. "We are not all good," he said finally. "The people who robbed your ship, they are human too. We have good and bad, just like everyone else." "I know," Lyra said, "but the good ones matter. You matter. If there are more humans like you, then perhaps there is hope for your species after all." Before Tejo could respond, he heard a sound outside the cave. Footsteps. He quickly stood up and moved toward the waterfall, looking through the falling water. "It is okay," he said with relief. "It is my friend. Yuna is here." A few seconds later, A young woman pushed through the waterfall and stepped into the cave. She was about 30 years old, with short black hair and sharp eyes. She was wearing the same Green Ranger uniform as Taeho, and she carried a large backpack. Yuna stopped when she saw Lyra. Her eyes went wide. Her mouth fell open. "Taeho," she said slowly. Is she?" "Yes," Taeho said. "Yuna, meet Lyra. She is from another planet. Her ship crashed this morning." Yuna did not move. She just stared at Lyra like she was seeing a ghost. Lyra stared back, looking nervous. "Hello," Lyra said in her careful English. "I am sorry if I frighten you." "Frighten me?" Yuna finally found her voice. "I am not frightened. I am amazed. You are real. Aliens are real. This is the greatest day of my life." She suddenly rushed forward and grabbed Lyra's hands. Lyra looked shocked. "I have so many questions," Yuna said excitedly. "Where are you from? How did you get here? How fast can your ship go? Is there life on other planets? Are there more aliens visiting Earth?" "Yuna," Taeho said gently, "slow down. She has had a difficult day." Yuna stopped and took a deep breath. Sorry. You're right. I just got excited." She let go of Lyra's hands and stepped back. Then she looked at Lyra more carefully, noticing for the first time that she was wearing only Taeho's jacket. "The clothes," Yuna said, suddenly understanding. "That is why you asked for women's clothes. Someone took her things." "Smugglers," Taeho explained. "They found her ship before I did. They took everything." Yuna's face grew angry. "Those criminals. They have no shame." She quickly took off her backpack and opened it. "I brought everything you asked for. Clothes, food, water. I also brought a first aid kit just in case." She pulled out a bundle of clothes and handed them to Lyra. There was a blue t-shirt, a pair of gray pants, and a thick sweater. There were also socks and a pair of old sneakers. "I hope they fit," Yuna said. "I had to guess your size." Lyra looked at the clothes with wonder. "You brought these for me? A stranger you have never met." "Of course," Yuna said, as if it was obvious. "You needed help. That is what friends do. But we are not friends. You do not know me." Yuna smiled. "Any friend of Taeho is a friend of mine. And besides, you are a visitor to our planet. We should show you proper hospitality." Lyra looked at the clothes in her hands. Then she looked at Yuna. Then she looked at Taeho. And suddenly, her eyes filled with tears. "I do not understand," she whispered. "Why are you so kind?" Yuna and Taeho exchanged a look. Neither of them knew how to answer that question. To them, it was just natural. It was just what you did when someone needed help. "Get dressed first," Yuna said gently. "Eat something. Rest. We can talk about everything else later." Taeho and Yuna stepped outside the cave to give Lyra privacy. They stood by the waterfall, the cool mist touching their faces. "This is crazy," Yuna said quietly. "An actual alien. In our forest. The government is going to lose their minds." "We cannot tell the government," Taeho said quickly. "Not yet. You saw how scared she is. If soldiers come with their guns and helicopters, they will treat her like a threat. Or worse, like an experiment." Yuna frowned. "So what do we do? Hide her forever? Just until her people come to find her?" She said it might take weeks, maybe months. "We can keep her safe until then." Yuna thought about this. It was a big risk. If anyone found out they were hiding an alien, they could lose their jobs. They could even go to jail. But she looked at the waterfall, and she thought about the blue-skinned woman on the other side. Lost, alone, scared, counting on two strangers to protect her. "Okay," Yuna said finally. "I am in. We will keep her safe together." Taeho smiled. "Thank you, Yuna. I knew I could count on you." "You owe me one," Yuna said. But she was smiling too. A few minutes later, Lyra called out that she was dressed. They went back into the cave and found her standing in her new clothes. The pants were a little short and the shoes were a little big, but she looked much better. She looked almost human. Yuna pulled out some food from her backpack. Rice balls, dried fruit, and bottles of water. I do not know what you can eat, she said, but these are simple foods. They should be safe. Lyra picked up a rice ball and looked at it carefully. She sniffed it. Then she took a small bite. It is good, she said with surprise. Very good. What is it? Rice, Yuna said. It is a grain. We cook it and press it together. Lyra took another bite, bigger this time. My body can process this. The nutrients are compatible. She ate 2 more rice balls quickly. She had been hungrier than she realized. When she finished, she looked at Taeho and Yuna with new eyes. You have both helped me so much, she said. I have nothing to give you in return, but I want you to know that I will remember this. My people will remember this. When I return home, I will tell everyone what you did. I will tell them that humans can be kind, that humans can be good. Just stay safe, Taeho said. That is all we ask. Lyra nodded. Then she did something that surprised them both. She reached out and took their hands, one in each of hers. Her skin was cool and smooth, like touching silk. In my culture, when people share hardship, they become bonded, she said. You are my bondmates now, my friends across the stars. This connection will never break, no matter how far apart we are. Yuna's eyes were wet. Even Taeho felt a lump in his throat. We are honored, he said simply. Outside the cave, the sun was moving across the sky. The day was passing quickly. They did not know what tomorrow would bring. They did not know if they could really keep Lyra safe. But for now, in this hidden cave behind the waterfall, 3 people from different worlds sat together in peace. They shared food and water and stories. They laughed and talked and learned about each other. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, Lyra's people were already searching. They were following the trail of her damaged ship. They were coming to find her, but they were not the only ones. The smugglers who had robbed Lyra's ship were not finished. They had seen what was inside that machine. They knew it was worth a fortune. And they knew that where there was a ship, there was probably a pilot. They were coming back, and this time, they would not leave empty-handed. The next morning came with gray clouds and cold wind. Taeho woke up early, as he always did. He was lying on the hard ground of the cave, using his backpack as a pillow. Yuna was sleeping nearby, wrapped in her jacket. And Lyra was sitting at the entrance of the cave, watching the waterfall. Did you sleep at all? Taeho asked quietly, sitting up. Lyra turned to look at him. Her purple eyes looked tired. My people do not need as much sleep as humans, she said. A few hours is enough. I have been watching and listening. Watching for what? I do not know. I have a bad feeling. Something in my stomach that will not go away. Taeho understood that feeling. He had it too. The smugglers knew about Lyra's ship. They knew it was valuable. People like that did not just walk away from treasure. He woke Yuna and told her his concerns. She listened carefully, her face serious. You are right, she said. We should move. This cave is good, but if they are searching the forest, they will find it eventually. Where can we go? Lyra asked. Taeho thought hard. He knew these mountains better than anyone. There were many places to hide, but most of them were not safe for long. They needed somewhere the smugglers would not think to look. The old fire tower, he said suddenly. It is on top of the mountain, about 4 hours' walk from here. Nobody uses it anymore. It is abandoned. Can we make it there before they find us? Yuna asked. If we leave now, yes. But we have to be careful. We have to stay off the main paths. They gathered their things quickly. Yuna gave Lyra more food to eat while they walked. Tejo checked his radio and his flashlight. He wished he had a weapon, but rangers did not carry guns in Korea. He had only a small knife for cutting branches. They left the cave and started walking up the mountain. Tejo led the way, choosing paths that were hidden by trees and bushes. Lyra followed in the middle, and Yuna walked at the back, watching for danger. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. The birds were not singing. The animals were not moving. It was like the whole mountain was holding its breath. They had been walking for about an hour when Tejo heard something. Voices. Men's voices. Coming from somewhere below them. He quickly signaled for the others to stop. They crouched down behind a large rock and listened. Saw tracks by the river, one voice said. 3 people. One of them has weird footprints. That is her, another voice said. The alien. She is still alive. I told you, we should have searched harder yesterday. We took everything valuable from the ship. How were we supposed to know the pilot was hiding? Shut up, both of you. This third voice was deeper and harder. It sounded like the leader. The ship was worth money, but the alien herself is worth 10 times more. Do you know what people would pay for a real live alien? Governments, scientists, rich collectors? She's worth millions. Tejo felt sick. They were going to sell Lyra like an animal, like a piece of property. He looked at Yuna. Her face was pale but determined. He looked at Lyra. She was trembling, but she did not make a sound. We have to keep moving, Tejo whispered. Slowly, quietly, they started crawling away from the rock, staying low to the ground. The voices grew fainter behind them, but Tejo knew it was only a matter of time before the smugglers found their trail again. They walked faster now, no longer trying to be quiet. Speed was more important than silence. They needed to reach the fire tower before the smugglers caught up. The path grew steeper. Lyra was struggling. Her legs were not used to climbing, and she was breathing hard. I'm slowing you down, she gasped. Leave me. Save yourselves. No, Tejo said firmly. We are not leaving you. We are all getting out of this together. He took her arm and helped her up the slope. Yuna moved to her other side and did the same. Together, they half carried her up the mountain. The trees began to thin out. They were getting close to the top. Tejo could see the fire tower ahead, a tall wooden structure rising above the rocks. But then he heard a shout behind them. There they are! Up there! Tejo looked back. He could see 4 men running up the slope toward them. They were big and fast, and 2 of them were carrying guns. Run! Tejo yelled. They ran. Lyra found new strength from somewhere deep inside her. Her long legs carried her up the mountain faster than before. Yuna sprinted beside her, guiding her toward the tower. Tejo fell back, putting himself between the women and the smugglers. He grabbed a large branch from the ground and held it like a weapon. The first smuggler reached him. He was a big man with a thick neck and small eyes. He swung his fist at Tejo's head. Tejo ducked and swung the branch. It hit the man's knee with a loud crack. The man screamed and fell down, but the second smuggler was right behind him. He tackled Tejo to the ground. They rolled in the dirt, fighting for control. The branch fell away. Tejo felt hands around his throat. He could not breathe. The world started to go dark. Then suddenly, the hands were gone. Tejo heard a thud and a groan. He looked up and saw Yuna standing over the smuggler, holding a large rock. The man was lying on the ground, not moving. Get up! Yuna shouted. More are coming! Tejo scrambled to his feet. His throat hurt, but he could breathe again. He saw the other 2 smugglers running toward them. One of them raised his gun. Get to the tower! Tejo yelled. Now! They ran the last 50 meters to the fire tower. The wooden door was old and rotten. Taeho kicked it open, and they rushed inside. He slammed the door behind them and pushed a heavy shelf in front of it. The tower had stairs leading up to a platform at the top. They climbed quickly, their feet pounding on the wooden steps. When they reached the top, they were breathing hard and sweating. The platform was open on all sides with only a low railing. They could see the whole forest below them, and they could see the smugglers at the base of the tower trying to break down the door. "We are trapped," Yuna said. "There is no other way down." Taeho looked around desperately. She was right. They were stuck. The smugglers would break through the door soon. And when they did, it would be over. Lyra was standing at the edge of the platform, looking up at the sky. Her silver hair was blowing in the wind. Her purple eyes were filled with sadness. "I'm sorry," she said. "This is my fault. I brought danger to you. I should have stayed alone." "Do not say that," Taeho said. "We chose to help you. We do not regret it, but you will die because of me." "We do not know that yet," Yuna said. "We are not dead yet. We can still fight." Below them, there was a loud crash. The smugglers had broken through the door. They could hear footsteps on the stairs, coming up fast. Taeho grabbed a wooden chair and held it ready. Yuna picked up an old fire extinguisher. They stood together at the top of the stairs, waiting. The leader of the smugglers appeared first. He was a tall man with a scar across his face. He was holding a gun, and he pointed it straight at Taeho. "Put that down," he said coldly. "You cannot win this. Give us the alien, and we will let you live." "No," Taeho said. The man's eyes narrowed. "You are willing to die for a creature from another world? Something that is not even human?" "She is a person," Taeho said. "And you are the one who is not human. A human would not hunt and sell another living being." The smuggler laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Fine. Then you will all die together." He raised his gun, and then the sky exploded with light. A beam of white light shot down from the clouds, so bright that everyone had to cover their eyes. There was a sound like thunder, but deeper and more powerful. The whole tower shook. When Taeho could see again, he looked up at the sky, and his heart stopped. A ship was descending through the clouds. It was huge and silver, at least 10 times bigger than Lyra's crashed vessel. It moved through the air without a sound, smooth and graceful like a bird. The smugglers were frozen with fear. Their guns hung useless at their sides. They stared at the ship with wide eyes and open mouths. Lyra stepped forward. Her face was filled with joy and relief. "My people," she breathed. "They found me." The ship came lower and lower until it was hovering just above the tower. A door opened in its side, and a ramp extended down to the platform. Figures appeared in the doorway. They looked like Lyra, tall and blue-skinned with silver hair. They were wearing white uniforms and carrying strange devices that looked like weapons. One of them stepped forward. She was older than Lyra, with lines on her face and wisdom in her eyes. "Lyra," she said, "we have been searching for you. Are you harmed?" "No," Lyra said. Her voice was choked with emotion. "I am safe. These humans saved me." The older alien looked at Taeho and Yuna. Her eyes studied them carefully. "Humans," she said. "You protected our daughter of the stars." "Why?" Taeho thought about the question. It was the same question Lyra had asked. And now he knew the answer better than ever. "Because she needed help," he said simply. "And because it was the right thing to do." The alien woman stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she bowed. It was the same bow Lyra had given him in the forest. "The galaxy has misjudged your species," she said. "You have honor. You have courage. You have kindness. These things are rare in the universe. We will not forget what you have done." She turned to the smugglers, who were still frozen with fear. "And these creatures?" she asked. They are criminals, Lyra said. They robbed my ship. They hunted me. They wanted to sell me. The older alien's face grew cold. Then they will face justice. Not human justice. Our justice. The armed aliens moved forward. The smugglers tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. In seconds, they were surrounded. Te-Ho did not know what would happen. 6 months had passed since the day in the mountains. Life had returned to normal for Teho and Yuna. They continued their work as forest rangers, walking the same paths and protecting the same trees. Nobody knew what had happened on that old fire tower. Nobody knew about the alien woman or the ship from the stars. Sometimes, late at night, Taiho would look up at the sky and wonder, was Lyra okay? Had she made it home safely? Did she ever think about him and Yuna? He had no way of knowing, and he had accepted that. Some things were meant to be mysteries, but the universe had other plans. It was a warm spring morning when everything changed. Taiho was at the ranger station, filling out reports, when Yuna burst through the door. Turn on the television, she said. Her voice was shaking. Right now. Taiho grabbed the remote and turned on the small TV in the corner of the office. Every channel was showing the same thing. Breaking news. The biggest story in human history. Alien ships had appeared over every major city on Earth. Taiho stared at the screen. He saw silver ships hovering above New York, Tokyo, London, Paris. They were the same design as the ship that had rescued Lyra. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands, appearing all at once. The world was in panic. Military jets were flying. Sirens were blaring. People were running through the streets, not knowing whether to celebrate or hide. And then the message came. It was broadcast on every television, every radio, every phone on the planet. A calm, clear voice speaking in every language at once. People of Earth, do not be afraid. We come in peace. The screen changed, and Taiho's heart nearly stopped. It was Lyra. She was standing on what looked like a stage, wearing a beautiful white dress that sparkled like starlight. Her silver hair was longer now, and her purple eyes seemed to glow. Behind her were dozens of other aliens, all watching with solemn expressions. My name is Lyra, she said. I am a representative of the Galactic Council. 6 months ago, I crashed on your planet. I was alone, scared, and helpless. I expected to find savages and monsters. The reports about humans said you were violent and dangerous. She paused. Her eyes seemed to look directly at Taiho, even through the television screen. But I was wrong. When I needed help, 2 humans gave me everything. They gave me clothes when I had none. They gave me food when I was hungry. They protected me when I was hunted. They asked for nothing in return. They showed me kindness simply because it was right. Taiho felt tears forming in his eyes. Beside him, Yuna was already crying. I told my people what happened, Lyra continued. I told them about Taiho and Yuna. I told them that humans are not monsters. Humans are complex. They can be cruel, yes, but they can also be kind. They can be selfish, but they can also be brave. They are young and messy and often make mistakes. But they have something rare and precious. They have the capacity for love, for compassion, for hope. She straightened her shoulders and spoke with authority. The Galactic Council has debated for many years whether to contact Earth. Many believed humans were too dangerous. But I argued for you. I fought for you. And now, the Council has agreed. Earth is ready. The crowd behind her began to applaud. On the television, news anchors were speechless. The whole world was watching, listening, waiting. Today, we extend an invitation to humanity, Lyra said. We invite you to join the Galactic Council, to share in our knowledge, to explore the stars, to become part of something bigger than your single planet. She smiled, and it was the same small smile that Taeho remembered from the forest. And I asked for one thing in return. I asked to be your ambassador. I asked to live among you and help you on this journey, because I have seen the best of humanity, and I want to help you show the rest of the galaxy what I saw. The broadcast ended. The TV went back to news anchors, all of them talking at once, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Taeho turned off the television. The office was silent. She did it, Yuna whispered. She actually did it. Because of us. Because of her, Taeho said. She was the one who fought for us. We just showed her who we could be. The phone in the station began to ring. Then another phone. Then another. Soon, every phone was ringing at once. Taeho knew that their quiet life was about to change. Someone would eventually find out who helped Lyra. The world would want to know their story. But before he answered any phones, Taeho walked outside. He stood in front of the station and looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, among the silver ships and the watching eyes of the galaxy, was a woman he had helped on a cold morning in the mountains. "Thank you, Lyra," he said softly, "for believing in us." 3 days later, a small ship landed in the Korean mountains. It came down in the same clearing where Lyra's ship had crashed so many months ago. The government had been notified. Soldiers stood in a wide circle. Reporters with cameras waited eagerly. But when the door opened, Lyra walked down the ramp alone, and she walked straight past all of them. She walked toward the 2 people standing at the edge of the clearing. The 2 people wearing Green Ranger uniforms. "Taeho," she said. "Yuna." They bowed to her, deep and formal, as she had taught them. She laughed and grabbed their hands, pulling them up. "No bowing," she said. "Not between bondmates. Not between friends." Then she hugged them, both of them at once, and they hugged her back. The cameras flashed. The reporters shouted questions, but none of that mattered. "I asked to come back here first," Lyra said, "before meeting any presidents or kings. I wanted to see you. I wanted to thank you properly." "You already thanked us," Taeho said. "You brought your people to Earth. You gave us a future. You gave me hope first," Lyra said. "That is worth more than any future." She stepped back and looked at them with her purple eyes. "The Galactic Council wants to meet you," she said. "They want to hear your story. They want to know about the humans who changed everything." "We are just rangers," Yuna said. "We protect forests. We are nobody special." "That is exactly what makes you special," Lyra said. "You are ordinary humans who did extraordinary things. Not for fame or reward. Just because it was right. That is what the galaxy needs to see. That is what will change how everyone sees your species." Taeho looked at Yuna. She looked at him. They had never asked for any of this. They had just helped someone who needed help. But now, somehow, they were part of something much bigger. "Okay," Taeho said finally. "We will tell our story. If it helps humanity, we will do it." Lyra smiled. That same bright, hopeful smile. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for everything." She took their hands again and led them toward the waiting ship. Behind them, the forest stood tall and green. The same forest where a crashed ship had started everything. The same forest where 2 ordinary people had made an extraordinary choice. As they walked up the ramp, Taeho looked back one last time. He saw the mountains and the trees and the sky. He saw the world he had known his whole life. Then he looked forward. He saw stars waiting beyond the clouds. He saw futures he had never imagined. And beside him, he saw a friend from the stars and a colleague who had become family. The universe was calling. And for the first time in human history, someone was ready to answer. The door closed behind them. The ship rose into the sky, and the world below watched in wonder. This was the beginning, not just for Tejo and YUNA. Not just for Lyra and her people, but for all of humanity. The stars were waiting. And finally, Earth was ready to reach them. Because in the end, it did not take weapons or technology or power to change the universe. It took something simpler and rarer. It took kindness. It took hope. It took two ordinary humans who saw someone in need and chose to help. That was the human spirit. That was what made humanity special, and that was what would carry them to the stars. The end.